Hey, it's Tuesday afternoon. You know what that means. It's another episode of COVE Tenant Talks. I'm the host, Kyle Burton, here at the Center for Ocean Ventures and Entrepreneurship. Last week, we had a really engaging discussion with Alf Trower of Ingenuity, and excited to continue on here this week with Mathew Zimola of ReelData, the CEO of that company. Welcome, Matt. Oh, Matt is not on there. So apologies for that. It's a little bit of a technical issue there. So just waiting for Matt to rejoin. In the meantime, recapping last week's episode with Alf, that was a very fun episode. We got to learn a little bit more about the projects that they're working on, some of the partners that they deal with, and understand more about the kind of the project management side and bringing engineering consulting into those design pieces. So we got to look at some of the cool projects they're working on and learn a bit more about that side of things. So just trying to connect here with Matt. Apologies. Next week, we're looking at forward to next week as well. Dylan Wells is the general manager of Hubble Industries, and he'll be joining next Tuesday. So I see Matt is back on the stream here. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Kyle. Sorry, the internet decided to cut off as soon as we started this up.
Oh, technology, eh? It's built to fail. So it's great to have you on here. Perhaps while we're speaking here, we can learn a bit more about your personal history before we get into ReelData.
Okay, yeah. So I am originally from central Manitoba, which is in the middle of Canada. So naturally, we ended up getting into fish farming down the road. I ended up moving to Halifax and doing a chemical engineering degree. I graduated in 2013 and then worked in the oil field for a bit. And then after that, after working within the oil field, it got me thinking that I wanted to do something more sustainable and realized that to do this, a sustainable company had to align with business interests. So I eventually moved back to Halifax to pursue a computer science degree and try and wrap my head around what the next step would be.
Nice. And then you ended up in the taking that computer science degree, the artificial intelligence, the machine learning, and applying it to the aquaculture space. So how's that been going?
It's been going great. We love what we're doing. We ended up starting the company about 2 years ago now. We decided to really leverage the fact that we are in Nova Scotia, and we decided to start looking within the ocean to solve pain points. And as soon as we came across the people working on fish farms, it was really apparent that there was a good synergy that we can use our expertise and our understanding of cameras, AI to solve some of the pain points that were addressed on our discovery calls within the industry. So we spoke with people on fish farms from Australia to Norway to Chile, and a lot of what they brought up were wanting solutions around how much do my fish weigh, how much should I be feeding my fish, what's the current state of health and welfare. And after speaking with my co-founder, Hussein, we really decided that we could do the majority of these with camera systems in the water. So it's going great right now. We're working on some trials with some partners that we're working with in Canada and the States and Denmark. So yeah, it's been great.
Fantastic. Perhaps we can just jump in and learn a bit more about the technology and the kind of the solution or the problem you're solving with your solution. So if you want to queue up your presentation, we can jump in there and learn a bit more. Absolutely. I guess it's worth pointing out too as well that you're a member of the startup yard here at COVE, and I think that you've really gelled well with the community we have here in Nova Scotia to help build your company.
Yeah, that's kind of where we started. Our company was at COVE Startup Yard. So the first funding we got was through NovaCore and COVE. So ever since that, it's been a roller coaster to get to the point we're at right now.
Sweet.
Yeah, so basically we started 2 years ago and identified through some user discovery calls 3 issues that farms were having across the world, and it was every call really addressed one of these three topics, if not more. It's how much do my fish weigh? So companies right now, in a lot of cases, are using some older technology, or they are currently manually weighing fish. So they'll go out to these pens or go to tanks on land-based farms. And they'll have to net out these fish and manually weigh them on a scale and write these metrics down, which is time consuming. How much do I feed my fish? Fish feed is the number one cost on any fish farm. So it is really important to reduce the amount of wasted feed while maximizing growth with fish farms. And what is the current state of health of my fish? So differentiating between land-based and ocean-based, they have different health parameters that they identify for fish. In the ocean, there are different diseases, and in land, there are things like ammonia levels that can quickly go awry. So farms are really trying to use sensors and use as much information as they can get to solve these three pain points. And our technology, this is kind of a high-level overview of our biomass technology. We have a camera that understands immediately when fish are perfectly in the center of a frame. When that happens, we can weigh the fish with, it's a stereoscopic camera. So it works like your eyes. It has depth perception. So if we know how far the fish are away from the camera, we can get all the dimensions of the fish. And for our pellet detection, pellet tracking, pellet counting, we basically, again, these are more visualizations than how the actual software works, but we can track pellets in a water column or within a tank and piping systems for land-based fish farms, count the individual pellets, and then report back to feeding systems and adjust the feeding systems in real time without any human intervention. So it is completely automated right now, and we're deploying that first automated fish feeding system within the next month. So we're really excited about that. And that is really how our technology works. I've kept a lot of the partners that we're working with off the slide on purpose, as we're still working with them, and we have some NDAs and stuff signed.
Nice. Lots of exciting stuff on the go. On the interesting trend side, what kind of trends are you seeing across the aquaculture space? Are they embracing automation, artificial intelligence?
Yeah, I guess there's really two big trends. If you're following aquaculture, you know that land-based fish farming is something that a lot of people are speaking about. So over the last little while, there's been a lot of investment placed into land-based fish farms. Atlantic Sapphire is ramping up the production in Florida. There's been some big ones announced in Maine and across Europe. And the second really trend we've noticed is, it's right, is the farms really beginning and more adopting artificial intelligence and really advanced analytics into their farms. So there's a lot of fish facial detection and some crazy things that are coming out in Norway. We've decided to really focus on the pain points that our clients and our partners have really identified with us. Fish facial detection is something that we see on the technology path, but not right now. But yeah, it's really, we also talk about how we've noticed that aquaculture itself has, it's always harder to do technology in the ocean. So when you're looking at aquaculture versus land-based agriculture, it's been a little bit behind, because I think it's just, if you want to break something, it's easier to put it in the ocean than in a field. So it's been a lot more difficult to do a lot of different challenges. And then I guess anything underwater as well. Signal, it's easier to send a signal to the moon than it is to send a signal to the bottom of the ocean.
So true. The ocean is an unforgiving environment, so those challenges are pretty inherent in that, and making robust technology to do that is not an overnight thing for sure.
No, we've made some issues with, like, we've broken some camera systems clearly, going through prototypes. Our camera systems are working great right now. So yeah, we're excited, and we've tackled a lot of the initial hardware issues over the last year.
Fantastic. That's great to hear. What about there is some startups or new companies in the space of that you're in. Is there some unique differences that make ReelData kind of stand out against the competition?
Yeah, so really the competition for the most part with AI and aquaculture and what we're doing is there's a limited number of startups. Where we think we differentiate is that we have built our hardware with economics in mind. We haven't reinvented the wheel really for any hardware. Off the shelf GPUs and camera systems. Really our sweet spot is in the team that's upstairs right now and all the AI we've developed around all of this hardware. So we're able to provide our hardware systems to fish farms as economical as possible. And really another thing that we like to focus on is we're not looking at people as customers, more as partnerships and developing solutions to pain points as we go forward with these first couple partners that we are working with. And jumping into the software, as far as I know, we are the only company globally that has completely automated fish feeding. So, which again, it's going to be deployed within the next 20 days or so. And I think that differentiates us a lot from all of our competition.
Very interesting. Is there a piece of, on the trend side again, of around automation that there's maybe a shortage of labor to kind of facilitate these? So you're helping farms on the operational side kind of enable those operations more efficiently?
I'm not sure if I understand the question.
In the sense that maybe there's a labor shortage for some of these tasks that you are automating. You're kind of enabling farms to continue operations if the labor side's not there.
Absolutely. If we wish we would have had we were 6 months ahead just before COVID, because we could have started giving out our camera systems to fish farms so that they could weigh fish, because they were trying to limit people going on site. As COVID was really ramping up. So that would have been great. But, and yeah, I guess as labor shortages happen, or if some farms need to have sites where there's not a lot of, the pool of employees isn't there, that's great for, I guess, having solutions to buy, such as automation for biomass or health and things like that around open pen or land-based fish farming. Because I know one of the big points for land-based fish farms is that they want to, when they're selecting their site, one of the main things is to have a site selection in which that they have access to a large pool of potential employees.
Nice. That makes sense, and it's good that you can address that. On a global scale, aquaculture seems to be the growing star of kind of the ocean technology space, especially as aquaculture, kind of the gross sales has outpaced wild catch fish and seafood. Is there going to be that same type of trend on the technology side? Are farms looking to kind of better monitor and understand the parameters of their operations?
I think so. It's like we've been in the industry for about 2 years, and my experience within the industry is that everybody's open and everybody's excited. Competition continue to develop solutions to pains that are addressed by fish farms. They're going to be happy to adopt it.
So it sounds like collaboration is kind of the key for going forward for kind of a stronger industry.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how we look as our company. We look to foster these relationships. We don't look at the farms as clients. We look at them as a partnership. And to move forward, we want to understand more and more about the pain points that are experienced on their farms or at their offices on land, so we can help them reduce risks, increase profits, top and bottom line, and provide healthy and happier fish for the industry.
Nice. On you mentioned some of the problems that you're helping solve. For those that are not familiar with kind of the aquaculture industry, maybe they're kind of a general ocean tech enthusiast. You mentioned biomass, but maybe a lot of people don't understand actually how farms are traditionally doing that estimation work right now. Maybe you can explain a little bit how it works.
Yeah, so traditionally, before the first, I think, set of technology came across from this, farms would go to an individual tank or an individual pen, and they would net out a sample population, which would represent the overall population of the pen. So they would take out, let's say, if you were to do a good size sample, it'd be about 300 fish. They'd take out 300 fish. They would weigh them. Every time I've done it with the farms we've worked with, we anesthetize the fish so they're not jumping around and they're not as stressed out. We weigh the fish, write those numbers down, and we place them back into the tank. And then I would say about 20 years ago now, some of the software that relied on computer vision came out where farms can weigh fish without actually having to take these fish out of the water. It's still very time consuming. We found that they are inaccurate, and we've heard from different farms we've been working with that there are some issues depending on where these instruments are placed within pens and how they're operated. And then I guess most recently, is startups like ours and our competition that are completely automating this whole process where you can just put a camera in a pen and understands when a fish is in front of it, and then we pop these weights out. But yeah, it's kind of how it's progressed. I originally just hand weighing fish. Lots of farms are still hand weighing fish as well too. I guess the smaller land-based ones that we've been working with are hand weighing fish. Lots of them have these swim-through sensors that provide the mean of the distribution of a fish farm. So you have an idea of the average weight of a fish, but what's really important also is not only having the average weight, but being really accurate on all the weights of fish that were measured between, for example, 2,600 grams and 2,800 grams. How many were in that weight range? How many were in the weight range from 28 to 3,000 grams, and so on. So that's it's a really important metric for feeding. And when you get closer to sales, as some of these fish farms are selling their fish based on the differences in the distribution. So heavier fish go to one buyer, medium fish go to another buyer, and smaller fish go to a third.
And when we're talking salmon, which is more expensive than a barrel of oil, every gram counts, right? So it means a better bottom line for those farms that you're working with, I'm guessing.
Absolutely. Any spot that we can use analytics to help them either grow their fish better, sell better, or save money, that's something that we're very interested in right now. And that's something that we've aligned our technology path with our partners to tackle. So it's reducing fish feed, it's growing fish better. It's helping the sales teams reduce risk in their sales cycle, all things along those lines. And we have a lot of cool things that are on our technology path as well that I think over the next 2 years is going to be really exciting to work with farms to identify and develop.
Nice. I won't go into detail on your future roadmap because I'm sure that's close to your heart, but maybe we can get a better understanding of what ReelData is going to look like in 1 to 2 years, or where kind of you see yourself fitting in the growing aquaculture industry.
Yeah, so in the 1 to 2 year range, like I said a couple times in this, I think we're really looking to scale out our camera systems and our AI with our first set of partners. We really want to work with them and let them identify these pain points that exist within their organizations, and then we want to develop solutions associated with that. So really working with some bigger names within the industry and helping them make their operations more efficient, helping their fish stay healthier and happier, and helping them reduce any wasted fish feed and increasing top and bottom lines for these fish farms. So that's what we're really focused on for the next 12 to 24 months, as well as developing a couple other the technologies that we've started.
Nice. And we had mentioned COVID earlier, but does that change any of your roadmap deployment-wise or kind of future-looking growth for the company?
COVID made things more difficult for hiring personnel, but we have really leveraged remote work. Most of our team is computer science, so we had no issues with working remotely or onboarding people. The issues that were presented were really getting to and from site and making sure everybody's safe and really reducing the risks associated with COVID. We were in a good spot as we were already extremely busy and resource strapped for the amount of staff we had. And we had some projects already on the go. So we weren't actively trying to sell to people in Norway and have to move out there or anywhere else. So we were grateful that we were able to stay in Nova Scotia or in Eastern Canada and work with people we're working with without any too much disruption to our company. But going forward next year, we're hoping that'll change because we'd like to start getting out there and not be limited to our offices here in Halifax.
Nice. On that note, how can companies, say if I'm a fish farm or perhaps a partner of some sort, how can they get engaged with you, Matt?
I'm really responsive with my email, so it's matt.zimola@ReelData.ai. We have LinkedIn. I'm really responsive on LinkedIn as well. You can follow us on our company page on LinkedIn, and we have a Twitter link as well. But we also have a new website launching. I think our website is currently down, which is a bad time to have this tenant talk, but that'll be launched within this week, and there'll be a contact form that way. But yeah, just send me an email or message me on LinkedIn, and happy to chat with anybody that has an interest in AI or the aquaculture industry.
Perfect. And then for those who might be confused, I think it's Matt with 2 T's, right? Your email?
It is matt.zimola, Zimola.
Perfect. So I think we're running up on time there, but I really do appreciate you joining, Matt, and giving people some perspective into the technology side you're working on, but also kind of the larger theme of the aquaculture space in general.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Kyle. It was always fun to chat with you.
Perfect. So we're doing this again every Tuesday. So next week we're joined by Dylan Wells. He's the GM at Hubble Industries. We're really looking forward to that, and we can kind of continue on the same line of conversations next week. So again, thank you, Matt. Have a great day, and everyone watching, see you next week.
Thanks, Kyle. Take care, everybody watching.
Take care.